So I'm going to take a break from YouTube, probably like temporary, of course. And this is because, firstly, college admissions, I have a month to do that. And secondly, because I've realized I was on a hamster wheel. And I realized the worst outcome to anything is to not take a break. I'll explain that in a second. This hamster wheel for me was every single time I tried to upload, my expectations were up here. I'm like, dude, I'll go viral, right? It's a million views. So my expectations were way up here. And every time I uploaded the video, reality was like down here, right? I was never able to realize that. I was never able to show that outcome for myself every single time. And so every single time I uploaded a video, I was disappointed, and then added over time. And in my mind, what happened was, dude, you're never going to go viral. That was what started popping up in my mind. And I learned this concept called multiplying by zero. It's from this amazing book, The Great Mental Models by Shane Parrish. He has an amazing blog, Farnham Street. And it's basically, let's say you multiply 10 by 20, by 30, by 40, by 50. That's a huge number, right? And you keep on going over and over, keep on adding more multiplying numbers. Think of this as work done, where you work really hard. You go day after day after day. You make the calls, you make the videos. And then one day you decide to quit. You multiply by zero. No matter how many numbers came before that, no matter how much work you put in before that, if you multiply anything by zero, it'll come to zero. The worst outcome you can have ever in doing these kinds of things where you work hard and you do something is quitting. Because all of a sudden, all of that effort went to waste and you have to start from zero again. So what I realized happening with a lot of people who like side hustles, right? They start one thing, they work really hard. They're like, oh, this is not working. And they have to go back to zero again. And then they work really hard, next thing, and then they drop to zero again. So I'll give you examples, right, with names. Oh, let me try dropshipping, man. Oh, yeah. Okay, maybe I made like $100. Oh, it's not working. Oh, what about real estate? Oh, man, let me try flipping homes and start buying them and start doing all this investment. Oh, it didn't work out. Oh, but what if I do like a lawn mowing business and then people really want to buy it and then maybe I could sell a lot of people? It didn't work out. So all of a sudden, you have nothing to show for these years of work that you've put in because you quit every single time. And that's what I realized I was leading myself into. I was getting to a point where I was trying to push myself to the absolute limit. But because of that, I was at a point where I was literally going to quit. And the best thing you can do in this situation is not multiply by zero, but multiply by 1 or 2. You're not working at 10 anymore, but you can dial it down to 1 or 2. I think that's the best strategy for long term. And what I realized is that my output per unit of time was going down by a lot. So before, let's say for example, I could edit 1 minute of video in an hour. Now it was dropping to like 15 seconds because my brain was just like, no, I don't want to do this. Like, it's not going to go viral. It's going to suck, whatever, right? Just negative thoughts. And I started realizing my output of unit per time went down. That's the definition of productivity. I'm like, dude, this is not healthy. This is not going to get me anywhere. And this is when I realized the difference between when to push through and when to take a break. So when you push through, people talk a lot about discipline, right? Oh, you got to push through. You got to push through the hard times. I don't think that's a good long-term solution. I heard this from, I don't remember where I heard this from. It was like, in the short term, punishment works really well. In the long term, reward works really well. Like, think about this, right? If I think about a guy who says, like, I hear someone saying, oh man, I want to get fit. And then they go to the gym today and they do a full workout for an hour and a half. I know they're not going to show up tomorrow. Like, it's guaranteed. You can't do that sustained everyday output. It's simply not possible if it's your first time going to the gym. Now, if you tell me, man, I'm going to go 10 minutes today. Like, yeah, you can probably do that tomorrow too. And the day after. And the day after. Makes sense. Now, what if I hear an experienced guy saying, man, I'm going to go to the gym an hour, 30 minutes, like every day now. Well, yeah, that makes sense because you've been going an hour every single day before that. So what I'm doing there is I'm making context. The first person is like, man, I want to do this huge activity, which is a punishment for me because I'm disciplined. You are not disciplined. It'll not work out long term. You'll quit right away because you've never had this level of stimulus before. This is a punishment for you. But for the guy who's already experienced, he's been going an hour a day for the last year. If he starts saying, man, I want to go an hour and a half today, yeah, go for it. Like, you will be consistent because you have been in the past, which means you can put on more work now. So what was happening to me is that I kept on doing that first guy thing, which is like, man, I'm going to hustle my balls off, right? I think short term that works, but if you do not get results, which a lot of people will not, like, that's the basic thing, and you will quit. Like, that's the simple answer. If you don't get results, you will quit. And that's, I think, what happens to a lot of people. They put in a lot of initial work and then they just fall off because it doesn't work out. So I realized that I don't have to be the first over this imaginary line I've made for myself. And that line for me is making that 100K for myself online, right? And I realized I don't have to be the first over that line. Of course, people have already come over that, but like, there's no rush. All the timelines I put out there are timelines I make. Nobody else is making them. I can hear these guys saying, yeah, that's how I made 100K at 19, how I made 500K a month at 14. That's a real video I saw, by the way. How I don't even know, multi-million-dollar business by 22. These timelines are artificial. You created it. I created it. And in doing so, I pushed myself to an unsustainable level. So this quote stuck with me. I don't have to be the first over the line. I just have to get over the line. That is it. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Because on the way, I do learn skills. And this is what people say when they say, enjoy the journey. Because people talk all about that, but it's like, I need the destination to survive. Like, I need money to survive. If you're in a situation right now where you're like, dude, I really need money. You don't care about the journey. You just need the destination. You need the money. Right? Like, that's a lot of people's situation. They're told, oh, quit your job now and go into a business. But realistically, like, most people will not do that because they need money to survive. They don't know if they'll get that next month if they try to start their YouTube channel next month. Most of them will not. That's like the hard truth. And so with this quote, you don't have to be the first over the line. You just have to be over the line. I realized I was working a bunch and that wasn't sustainable. And so I'm like, how much do these top performers actually work? And it turns out they aren't actually working as much as they actually say they do. Think of Elon Musk, right? He says, man, I work 16 hours a day every single week. So what is that? That's like 120 hours a week. I don't know what that is. But he's doing that. And I'm like, I don't believe this guy. Why don't I believe this guy? Go on his Twitter right now. Every 2 hours, he has an update on like the Ukraine war. Or like he's talking about how, I don't even know, how like someone leaked their nudes. I have no clue. You can go on his Twitter right now and you'll prove my point. Like, he's literally on about something on Twitter for every 5 minutes. And then you see clips of him on like YouTube where he's like, oh, let me go meet the president of, let me go meet this president, right? Let me go meet the, like, he's not, you're not working all the time, you know? So like even Elon Musk, like the richest guy on earth, is not working all the time. Mr. Beast, who is one of my idols, he says he works all the time. No, you do not. Like, you said now that you're taking shows. Like, you watch shows sometimes for half the day. Of course, he gets back into his work after that, but it's just simply unsustainable. It's a human condition. It's impossible to work every day, all day. Like, Mr. Beast takes time off for like his girlfriend, all that stuff. Of course, he's recording all day, but this is not the same work me and you have to do. Even Alex Ramosi, there's another guy I look up to. He has meetings like half of his day. Like, sure, that might be work to him, but like me, like, you're just sitting there talking. Like, it's not sitting there like we have to do editing, hard technical work, or making the calls, making the dials, whatever it is for us. And this was the same with me. I said I was working all day, but the actual work was probably like 5 hours. The rest was me like goofing off and doing research on Twitter. Research. I realized this is good. This means you can get really far with really little time investment. And if you can do that, then you can pretty much get anywhere with very little time invested. Like, you can have your main job, come back home, work for 5 hours, focused, right? Focus is important. If you can work for 5 hours focused from time you get home, let's say you get home at 5 to 10, you can build your business on the side and then quit your main job. I think that's how people are saying to do it, not literally quit your job and start doing it tomorrow. And so the common argument against this is like, but hard work makes you rich. Let me give you a concept. Let's say there's 2 boats. I'm running one of the boats, you're running the other one. And both of us have a single goal. We want to get to the end of this river. So we're here and we want to get to the end of the river. And we start. I row as hard as I can. I have 2 rows on both sides. I'm pushing, I'm straining, like I'm dying, I'm sweating, everything, right? And I'm pushing to get to the other side. Now you're a little smarter. You get another worker. You're like, all right, when we get to the other side, I'll give you half of my money. Help me push this boat. So now you are rowing as hard, as fast as you can, right? But now another guy is also rowing as hard, as fast as he can. Who's going to win? The guy with 2 people. This is common sense, right? But what about this? What if I actually chose a boat with a motor? If I chose a boat with a motor, I don't even have to row, firstly. And if I do row with that motor, I'm going faster than both of you combined. You can hire 5 people. I'll still be faster because I have a motor. Now, what if I picked a different river? What if the outcome we're looking for at the end of the river is small, but I simply go to a different river and I'm able to get to a better outcome? You see where I'm going with this? It's not about the hard work you put in or the amount of workers you hire to get to a goal. What is the goal you're working towards in the first place? Right? This is very basic, very common knowledge, but think of it like this. If I'm working out, I say, man, I want to be the best lawyer in the world. The most I can probably make is like $1 million a year. And for a lot of people, sure, that's good, but the amount of work you have to put in to get there is crazy, right? But now, what if person B says, oh, I want to become the best phone salesman, I want to start the best tech company in the world. His cap is infinite. His cap is in the billions. You have to look at your market cap. You can say, I want to be the best engineer in the world. Best engineer in the world, maybe $900,000 a year, $1 million. Of course, these are good numbers. If you like it, go for it. But the amount of effort it takes to get to that point, the law of diminishing returns guarantees that it'll be insanely difficult to get to that point. Whereas this other guy who's like, oh man, tech startup, of course it'll still be hard. I'm not saying it's easier. But it's the outcomes are much more outsized compared to what you can get doing a basic job. And so, are you rowing in the right direction, or even in the right boat, or even in the right river, right? You got to ask yourself that. I had to pause and ask myself this too. Am I in the right opportunity? Am I making the right videos? Am I making stuff that people actually watch? If I cap myself to self-improvement content, there's very, very little people on earth who will be willing to watch that. But what if I combine it with challenges, right? All of a sudden, I can get a much greater population to listen. I can get an older population to listen, a younger one as well. All of a sudden, my chances of growth have grown exponentially, simply because I started making different types of content and went in a different boat, or I'm going towards a different river. And so my goal is to just simply get back into it slowly. Like, I think I took a hard stop, and over time, like I'm making this right now, just slowly start getting back into making videos, getting comfortable on camera, just talking to people. I went back and I was brainstorming videos today, and like, I was just so excited. Like, I went on YouTube, like, man, like what have people done in the past that I can do a little better? So I was researching, and then I screenshotted some things. I have it right here, and I'm like, man, I can make this video and this one might take 3 weeks, but it'll be so banger. And so I'm just like slowly getting back into it. My energy is even higher this time because I took a break. Because I'm in it for the long term. As long as I do not quit, as long as I do not multiply by 0, my efforts are not wasted. I'm simply multiplying by 1 or 2, and then once I'm in it again, I'm going full 10, 20, 30. I'm multiplying by that now. And these numbers represent the amount of effort I put in. And so all I'm going to tell you is, if you're in a hard spot, be it physical exercise, be it your business, whatever it is, just take a break. Seriously. And if you're scared of taking a break, think of it like this. If you want to do something to its best ability, if you want to become really good in a certain domain, you have to put at least 10,000. You heard of the 10,000 hour rule, right? That's about 3 years. 3 years of doing, let's say you did even 5 hours a day. If you did 5 hours a day times 7, 35 a week, times 4, that's about 140 a month. So you're doing about like 2,800 per year. That means it'll take 4 years to master that, to get good at it. And that's when you start making the outcomes you want. And so you have frighteningly little choice of what you can do. You have to dedicate yourself to one thing for like years, 2, 3, 4. And you have to find that out for yourself now. If you think, man, if I take this break, I lose everything, you're probably not in the right vehicle. You need to find something different to do. Truly, because you really have to be in the long term for any of this to work. And if you do think longer term, like I'm saying right now, you'll start enjoying the journey a bit more, like people say too. It's still about the destination, but the journey will be fun there too. And along the way, I know I'll stumble upon opportunities. Right now I'm making content. Maybe in the future I'll start doing content advising, which will make me more money, which is a better opportunity. And at some point, maybe I'll start a media company, which is an even better opportunity. And at some point, maybe I might be collaborating with big brands to make media for them, right? So many opportunities here. I don't know which path I'm going to go down. And that's the exciting part. So don't quit. Just take a break and get back into it. And that break, up to you. Make sure it's not permanent. If you have to get back into it slowly. But if you've been on something, don't stop. That's it. Slow down, but don't stop. Because I guarantee you'll be better than the guy who quit and went into a different opportunity thinking there's more money there, or crypto or Bitcoin or whatever. So just keep that in mind, all right? Okay, bye.